After divorcing the pop diva Isabel, I fled overnight with my daughter Mia. I had died in a car accident in my previous life and was reborn that day. I took my daughter Mia to appear on a reality show, and as soon as it aired, it received millions of glowing reviews. The host asked my daughter, Mia, "Why don't we see your mother?" My daughter's mouth curled into a smile. Dad said I popped out from a crack in a rock. Isabel, who was still competing on the Ultimate Voice competition, barged onto the scene like a fighter jet. She stared at us with blazing eyes. She popped out from a crack in a rock. Then who am I? Before I could speak, my daughter opened her mouth. How dare you talk to Dad like that? Who are you, lady? Dad, don't sleep anymore. It's time to get up and eat. My daughter Mia called me to wake up. I turned and pulled her into my arms. Mia, stay and sleep with Daddy a little longer. We're just here to collect some appearance fees. No need to work so hard for the show. The cameraman carrying the camera was sweating profusely, thinking to himself, it's enough that you know this in your heart, but do you have to say it out loud? We're still broadcasting live. You're exposing the production team like this. Aren't you afraid they'll give you trouble later? I had no idea what the cameraman was thinking, but even if I did, I would just smile it off. If it weren't for my good buddy Marcus tracking me down, I wouldn't have bothered joining this mediocre show. Having traveled through time these past few years, I'd long since achieved financial freedom, lying on a lounger every day, relaxing and sunbathing. Pretty nice life. Mia giggled, snuggling into my arms and murmuring, then it's agreed. We'll only sleep for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. 1 hour. Just as the photographer was about to protest, Director Harrison's joyful voice came through the earpiece. Don't wake them up. Let them sleep well. The photographer didn't dare question it and could only agree. He couldn't help but think bitterly about Director Harrison. Isn't it just a sleep broadcast? I can do that too. Director Harrison grinned, his 2 gold teeth flashing as he watched the viewer count surge in the live stream. He couldn't help but pick up his phone and dial a number. Marcus, you really came through for me, buddy. Our ratings just hit number 3. The voice on the other end was calm. Then you should remember whose friend this is. He can sweep everything away with just a slight move. There will be more surprises to come. Director Harrison didn't argue this time, and he also apologized for looking down on me before. Marcus didn't care much. In the end, he gave one piece of advice. You can challenge Nathan, but whatever you do, don't mess with his daughter, or even I won't be able to save you. At 9 in the morning, I woke Mia up. Dad, let me sleep a little longer. Just 20 minutes. A smile spread across my face. I scooped Mia out of the covers and spun her around once. Mia let out a bell-like laugh. Dad, put me down. It's tickling me to death. I stopped and put her on the bed, saying earnestly, quickly get dressed. Dad is going to prepare breakfast. The little girl pouted, feeling something was wrong, and began to speak. It was clearly the breakfast I prepared. But she soon laughed. She picked up the phone I'd left on the bed and unlocked it with practiced ease. Looking through the photos in the gallery, she said with a smile, Dad, I know you like that lady. Mia will definitely help you win her over. The person in the photo had almost the exact same eyes as Mia. She was none other than the popular diva Isabel, and Mia was my biological daughter with her. Seeing Mia still hadn't come out after a long time, I couldn't help but walk into the bedroom. Seeing her staring at the phone, I stepped over with a smile. Mia, sneaking games again. Too much will hurt your eyes. Mia smiled and gave me a kiss on the cheek. Got it, Dad. Your beard is prickly. After dinner, I heard a knock at the door. Nathan, you really kept us waiting. I turned to look and saw Director Harrison walking over with the guests. I asked in confusion, Director Harrison, I thought today was free time. Director Harrison walked over and said, actually, it's like this. Our show's ratings have reached 3rd nationwide, so we're going to hold a celebration. The ingredients will be provided by our production team, and each of you guests can show off your cooking skills. So, are you and Mia going to take part? It can cultivate a child's hands-on abilities. If she doesn't participate, how will Mia understand how hard life can be? After I understood the rules, I nodded at once. Of course we can join. May I ask, is there an extra fee? Director Harrison nodded happily, feeling quite disdainful inside. If the show airs and the results are good, I'll give everyone a big red envelope. After talking a while longer, I took Mia to practice singing. The day's plan begins in the morning, and Mia's musical talent must not be neglected. Isabel and I met in university. We both majored in music. At the time, her graduation performance partner had an emergency, and through Marcus's introduction, I went on stage to help. Because of the connection with Marcus, I helped Isabel once. Unexpectedly, the first time she and I performed together, the result was surprisingly good. Later, Isabel proactively added me, and we started contacting each other more. By a twist of fate, we even ended up signing with the same company. Both of us were musical prodigies, showing astonishing talent as soon as we joined the company. But the company's resources were limited, so I voluntarily gave up some of them. With the company's full backing, Isabel made her first push to challenge the reigning diva. Unfortunately, she failed. After her failure, she was disheartened and lost hope. She came to me, married me, and had a child with me. I had thought life would settle down. But that day, her manager Patricia came to see me. Nathan, if you stick with Isabel, you'll only hold her back. Did you know rumors are already circulating outside that Isabel has married and had a child? If that gets confirmed, it would be a devastating blow to her career. At that time, I was madly in love with Isabel. I couldn't stand to see her hurt in any way. Patricia handed me a divorce agreement. Without any hesitation, I signed my name on it. 3 days later, Isabel and I completed the divorce formalities. Our marriage ended just like that. She handed me a $10 million black card, but I didn't take it. That night, I fled with Mia overnight. I don't even know how many rides we took. In the end, there was a car accident. On the verge of death, I held Mia tightly in my arms. Recalling those memories, I felt sorrow for my past life. After leaving the hospital, I went into hiding with Mia in this bustling Riverside Valley town. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. 2 years ago, I also saw Isabel on the news headlines. Isabel had finally become a superstar of her generation. On a swing by the playground, only butterflies land upon it. The song ended, and Mia ran into my arms. "Dad, how did I sing?" I ruffled her little head. "Mia was amazing, better than your mom." Mia looked puzzled. "Dad, didn't you say I popped out of a crack in a rock? How could I have a mom?" I quickly smoothed things over and changed the subject. "Dad just forgot. The celebration is starting. Chef Mia is about to make her appearance." When she heard me praise her, she quickly moved away from the topic. On the way to the restaurant, she kept repeating, "I have to make so many dishes today. Dragon and Phoenix Glory, Ocean Blue Delights." My eyes welled up. Nothing special, the dishes my daughter mentioned were all my favorites. I quietly resolved to eat a little more later to give my daughter confidence. By the time we arrived, we'd already changed clothes. When we reached the restaurant, the show was already being recorded. Host Jennifer Moore appeared on camera. "Hello, viewers. Welcome to the reality show Brilliant Minds. I'm Jennifer. Our 5 groups of contestants have all arrived. Let's have the camera follow their steps and see what they're doing." As the camera zoomed in, the first 4 groups were preparing lunch. But when it came to our place, the commenters completely lost it. What is he doing? Where did the show find this idiot? He actually made the child cook while he lies in a chair playing games. Is there any justice left? Look at his worried face. He probably lost the game again. Serves him right. Of course, some netizens tried to explain on my behalf, but they were drowned out by the accusations. Someone even made a grandiose promise to teach me a lesson on the spot. To my surprise, someone actually replied to them below, 3 more seconds and I'll be there. I lost the game, so I picked up my phone and started scrolling through the live comments. I actually saw that comment, and the person who posted it turned out to be an acquaintance. Without thinking, I scooped up Mia and ran. But I didn't expect a figure at the door to block me dead in my tracks. "Where do you think you're going?" The live stream froze for a moment. Am I seeing things? The more I look, the more this person looks like the current top diva Isabel. Not looks like, she is Isabel. You've bewitched me. My brain orgasmed. I'm instantly awake. I didn't expect that just appearing on a show would make Isabel come after me. Dad, are we leaving now? Mia's eyes spun round and round as if lost in thought. One sentence from Mia set the live stream chat ablaze once again. This duo's chemistry is just so smooth. What the hell? Could it be that the diva and this kid are involved? You still want to trick me into having a daughter? You must have taken a job at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I looked at Isabel, about to say something when the host interrupted. The host handed the microphone to my daughter. Mia, why isn't your mom here? My daughter's mouth curled into a smile. Dad said I popped out from a crack in a rock. Isabel, who had rushed to the scene, stared at me with eyes that never let go. She popped out from a crack in a rock. Then who am I? Before I could speak, my daughter opened her mouth. How dare you talk to Dad like that? Who are you, lady? Mia's voice wasn't loud, but everyone in the live stream could hear her clearly. It was practically a major bloodbath scene. The show was still filming, so I quickly picked up Mia and soothed her. Keep your voice down. She's a popular diva, Isabel. Mia turned to the camera, pouting, and said, famous pop diva. So impressive. I hurriedly covered her mouth and whispered in her ear. Several $1 million every year. What do you think? The live stream chat buzzed with discussion. I turned around and saw Isabel's face as dark as coal. Nathan, is this how you take care of? She was cut off mid-sentence when her manager Patricia rushed in and clapped a hand over her mouth. Isabel, you can't make your relationship public. It'll ruin your career. But this time, without thinking, she pushed Patricia away. If I don't make it public, my own biological daughter will end up calling me Lady. After saying that, she walked toward me. Nathan, let's talk. I didn't refuse. After all, I knew that if things weren't clarified, she would still come looking for me. After a moment's thought, I said, go back to the hotel and wait for me. I'll come find you after I finish recording. Watching Isabel leave, the celebration officially began. Dad, put away your phone. It's time to eat. The soft, sweet voice made the viewers in the live stream melt. The director screamed wildly backstage. Give half the shots to Nathan and his daughter. On the live broadcast, Mia prepared several fine dishes. They were perfect in color, aroma, and taste. They looked incredibly appetizing, not at all inferior to the other four groups. The live viewers were even more generous with their praise. So fragrant. I feel like I'm not as good as Mia. The burger in my hand suddenly doesn't smell good anymore. Look at Nathan. He's drooling. No way. When I get home, I'm going to tell my husband to have a daughter. Watching the traffic grow, Director Harrison could barely keep his mouth shut. Keep directing the traffic toward Nathan and his daughter, and post the highlights online. Having arranged everything, he picked up his phone again and called Marcus. Marcus, our ratings are now second. A flat, expressionless voice responded. Call me again when it hits number 1. The call ended. Director Harrison looked at the busy crew around him and loudly praised, everyone, hold on a little longer. Once the show airs, everyone's bonus will be doubled. After saying all that, he murmured to himself, Nathan, you really are my lucky star. Host Jennifer Moore received the director's instruction and asked me a few questions at the dining table. I responded casually, glancing at my phone out of the corner of my eye. The data looked good, so it wasn't too bad for Marcus. The celebration ended, and I left with Mia immediately. I didn't expect that as soon as we stepped out the door, a car stopped in front of us. The window rolled down, revealing Isabel's cold face. Get in the car. I won't give you any chance to run away. There was nothing I could do. I could only take her home. My home is a detached house with a garden in the back. Not bad. Isabel's mood was like a roller coaster. She had even thought we lived in a slum and were very short of money. But it turned out I was living even more comfortably than she was. This made Isabel feel that all her past choices had been wrong. It was love at first sight. She fell for the place the moment she saw it. I led her to a tea pavilion and said directly, "Isabel, just say whatever you have to say." Isabel looked sorrowful and indignant. "Nathan, do you know how I spent the past 5 years? You quietly took Mia away. I haven't slept a single peaceful night in these 5 years." By the end, her words turned into an accusation. "Although we've separated, didn't I provide you with a villa? Why did you have to leave?" Hearing Isabel's reproach, I replied with an expressionless face. "If you insist on saying that, I don't think there's any need for us to continue talking. It wasn't that I necessarily wanted to leave back then, either." Thinking back to the day after the divorce, her manager found me and handed me a check for $5 million. "Nathan, take this $5 million. Take Mia and leave, and don't come back." I was, of course, full of confusion. "Do you mean this, or does Isabel mean this?" Patricia's answer was simple. "Whether it's my wish or hers, you shouldn't be with her. To her, you're just a burden. Do you understand?" I picked up the check in my hand and slapped it into her face. "Don't use your filthy thoughts to judge my love for Isabel. If she can go further, I will support her." So now she asked me why I left. I could only find it utterly ridiculous. Isabel only felt wronged. She spoke unhappily. "It was you who insisted on leaving back then, and you're the one who snapped at me first." Wah, wah, wah. With just one look, I saw a sly flash cross her eyes. As expected of an actress, she can sure put on a show. Mia saw Isabel crying and grabbed my hand. "Dad, don't be sad. If you don't like this lady, we can pick another one." I took her hand and said seriously, "Do you hear me? If you can't speak properly again, get out. Mia, just having me is enough." Saying that, I took Mia's hand and was about to go back to rest. Seeing this, Isabel fell to her knees with a thud. "Mia, husband, I'm sorry. It was my fault." Mia looked at me and said softly, "Dad, she's already kneeled down to admit her mistake. Should we give her another chance?" Looking at my daughter's expectant eyes, I thought this was the bond of mother and daughter by blood. After a pause, I slowly spoke. "Since Mia spoke up, we'll give you one chance." No sooner had I finished speaking than Butler Gregory ran over to report. "Sir, bad news. Someone outside claiming to be Patricia wants to see you." Patricia, Isabel's manager. She was also the one who threatened and coerced me back then. I have no good feelings toward this woman at all. Get her out. Butler Gregory nodded in agreement. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. And then I saw a figure burst in. "Nathan, how dare you detain our Isabel? Do you believe we won't call the police and have you arrested?" Seeing Patricia take such a stance made me lose the last shred of goodwill I had for Isabel. I said bluntly, "Isabel, take your dog and get out of here." Mia saw I was angry and shook off Isabel's hand. "Lady, you made Daddy angry. I don't like you anymore." I felt much better inside seeing this. Isabel turned and slapped Patricia in the face. "Patricia, is that how you talk to my husband and daughter? It seems I've been too indulgent with you all these years." After saying that, she looked at me in a conciliatory way. "Honey, are you still angry?" Patricia's eyes were bloodshot with fury. She pointed at me and said, "Isabel, Nathan is just a burden. How could you hit me for him?" Patricia couldn't understand what she had done wrong. She had forced us to break up all for our own good. The smile at the corner of Isabel's mouth vanished. She glared at Patricia and said, "A burden. Do you know how I've lived these past years? Ever since they left, I haven't slept a single peaceful night. I'm awakened every time by nightmares." This time, she was determined to win us back. From the show, she learned just how outstanding her daughter is. Of course, there's also that unreliable father. She wants to reform him. At that, Patricia scoffed. "Isabel, if you tell me now that you regret it, you're just trying to shove all the responsibility onto us. You were the one who wanted the divorce back then, and you were the one who said the father and daughter were burdens." When Patricia told the truth, I realized there was this layer of truth to the divorce back then. The company's resources were limited at the time, and Isabel was very driven. I'm not surprised she could think that way. But I resented her. Why couldn't she have said it out loud? No wonder she chose to leave in her previous life. She was too disappointed in her. Memories from the past flashed by, and I politely said to Butler Gregory, "Butler Gregory, please show them out." Isabel was about to say something else when she was dragged away by the arriving security guards. A hysterical apology came from behind her. "Sorry, it was my fault." After Isabel left, I picked up Mia. "Mia, you don't blame Daddy, do you?" Mia shook her head, her big eyes darting back and forth. "It's not Daddy's fault. There's no one like Daddy in the world." My heartache eased a little. I could also see the disappointment in her eyes. After all, she was just a child. She didn't have to go through my pain. I gently lifted her head and said irritably, "If you don't tell the truth, Dad will get angry." Mia smiled faintly. "Sorry," Mia lied. I laughed. "That's better. Then we'll give her 3 chances. If you can accept that, shall we let her stay?" Mia nodded excitedly and held out her finger to make a pinky promise with me. As Mia and I continued to appear on the show, more and more people were drawn to us. Combined with Mia's doting dad personality, our traffic exploded. The 4 other guest pairs on the show looked on, green with envy. Especially Vincent, who ranked second in popularity, was even more explosive in his mindset. He directly complained to his older brother, Damien. "Bro, I want to deal with a father and daughter pair. Do you have any ideas?" Vincent had put a lot into this show, spending a great deal of money and time. The top spot must belong to him. He wanted to use this chance to become an overnight sensation. Now being overshadowed by a pair of ordinary father and daughter, he was deeply resentful. The person opposite chuckled lightly. "They're just a pair of ordinary people. Bribe one of the guest stars to set the tone." He hung up the phone, and Vincent regained his confidence. After a short while, he dialed the number. After hanging up, he was overjoyed. When Mia and I came down from the stage, the 2 guest commentators at the host stand set the tone. "The world has declined. A man like that still has the nerve to appear on a show. A father who doesn't set an example for his child is actually worse than a girl. I suggest the program team bans men like that outright." Many of the paid commenters Vincent hired started spamming the live chat. "Nathan, get out of the show. Sisters, let's cyberbully Nathan." Mia and I started from zero. Our fans didn't have much cohesion and were defeated faster under the head-to-head matchup. This kid isn't a good one either. As the father, so the daughter. Director Harrison saw the situation and hesitated. If this weren't Nathan, he probably wouldn't have interfered. But this person was recommended by Marcus, so he had to be extra cautious. Before he could make the call, Marcus phoned him. "Director Harrison, if you can't resolve this, I'll step in personally." Director Harrison nodded repeatedly. He dared not offend the big shot Marcus. He contacted the 2 special guests through his earpiece, but the 2 had obviously been paid off and completely ignored him. "This is outrageous. Cut off the comment live stream feed for me. This is not a serious situation. The director's office won't intervene lightly." The 2 commentators, still unaware, went on spouting nonsense. "Someone like Nathan is unfit to be a father, right? People like him should be kicked off the show." But then the 2 of them noticed the live stream feed suddenly went black. For a moment, viewers were left confused. Mia and I began today's show challenge, the Shadow Trail. 5 pairs of guests each chose a path to reach the Mushroom House. The team that used the least time got first place. The first place family could make the last place family do one thing. The Mushroom House was colorful and visible from afar at a glance. But the livestream chat didn't see it that way. The show producers being this kind. "You're dreaming. Nathan's just like old Devil Han. Always takes 3 steps back when trouble comes. Poor Mia. She's fine going through the challenge alone, but having to bring along a burden." Although Mia's and my live stream were hit, with the show's team stepping in, things quickly stabilized. It was also because Mia was intelligent and talented that the live stream kept its top audience numbers. But seeing the plank walk ahead, the 2 of us stopped. On the path before us were 7 or 8 plank walkways laid out. No need to think, beneath the planks were individual traps, and at the end of the plank stood the mushroom house. Mia frowned, causing viewers in the live stream to shout, "Let me do it." Soon, she suddenly said, "Good thing I remember the little trick Dad taught me." Saying that, she took a few marbles out of her pocket. As the marbles rolled across the wooden board, they made a distinct sound. Locating by sound, the audience who had been waiting to see Mia embarrassed instantly erupted. Damn, is Mia really that good? She's only 5 years old. I was waiting to see how many times this father-daughter pair would mess up. Didn't expect them to handle it so easily. I think the production team is baffled. Set up all those traps and ended up not using them. This cracks me up. By the way, did you just hear Mia say her dad taught her that? I shook my head. Mia was still thinking far too simply. How could a show team possibly be that careless? Sure enough, the next moment, Mia was about to fall into a trap. I was quick-eyed and nimble-handed, scooping her up in one swift motion. But the scene in the pit sent shivers down my spine. The large pit was filled with dense, venomous snakes flicking their tongues freely. Viewers in the live stream seeing this exclaimed that it was impossible. Director Harrison in the control room rushed over here like his life depended on it, pale with fear. The live show's traffic surged, but sadly it was all negative traffic, almost overwhelming the official social media. Because we were recording the show, Mia and I had handed in our phones. But that was no problem for me. I had my staff call an ambulance. By the time Director Harrison arrived, he could only watch the ambulance drive away. He gritted his teeth and said, "Temporarily suspend the show. You all go back first." After speaking, he flagged down a car and rushed to the hospital. When the ambulance arrived at the hospital, I directly called for the director. After examination, Mia only suffered external injuries and needed to rest for a few days. My heart finally settled. As I walked her back to the ward, a figure in the distance caught my eye. Mia looked a little displeased. "Isn't that Mom? Why is she talking with another man?" I covered my daughter's mouth, and the two of us quietly slipped behind a pillar. Here, we could clearly hear the conversation between the two of them, Isabel and the other person. "Damien, let go of me. I'm going to see my daughter." "Isabel, if you go now, it won't do any good. You have to wait until they're desperate before you show up." "Why?" "Only then will they be grateful to you, thinking you're their pillar of support." Through the corner of my eye, I could see the pride in Damien's eyes. My daughter looked at me, ready to leave. I grabbed her hand and said softly, "We'll wait a little longer and see what she chooses." But I didn't expect her to actually listen to Damien. It took her a long time before she hurried to the operating room. Looking at her retreating back, my daughter spoke each word deliberately. "Mama, one of your chances is gone." I took my daughter back to the ward. Half an hour later, Isabel rushed in a panic. "Mia, Mom is late." Hearing Isabel's anguished shout, Mia and I no longer felt any ripple of emotion. Mia looked up and said seriously, "Lady, I promised that I'd give you 3 chances, and you've already used one." Isabel was stunned, then tried to explain in every way she could. And the words coming out of her mouth were exactly what Damien had said. I picked up my phone and threw it to her. "If it weren't for my daughter and me being there in person, you would have totally pulled it off." She took the phone carefully. Just one glance, and her heart sank halfway. She hurriedly explained, "It's not like that." Damien, who was following her, grabbed her hand. He looked at me meaningfully. "Isabel, you can't be polite with people like that. Otherwise, I'm afraid they'll end up riding on your neck and taking a dump." Mia immediately retorted, "That's not true." Damien grinned and said, "Isn't that right? You joined this show to get Isabel's attention. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. You just want to leech off Isabel." After speaking, he took out a deed and said contemptuously, "The manor you live in. You're not even the owner of the house." Seeing the 2 words Marcus above, I couldn't help but laugh. At first, I wanted to buy this manor myself, but Marcus simply gave it to me. I naturally didn't pay it much mind and didn't go through the final transfer paperwork. Unexpectedly, Damien took advantage of the gap. "Nathan, how can you lie? You'll set a bad example for the child," Isabel said seriously. Damien backed Isabel up and belittled me in every way. He wanted to crush me completely so that Isabel would be completely disappointed in me. She would belong only to him. Soon he made up his mind and said lightly to Isabel, "Actually, you shouldn't blame Nathan either. After all, what man doesn't want a little face and pride?" Just as I was about to speak, a voice from behind interrupted me. "He's not the owner of the manor yet, but he will be soon." Seeing who had arrived, Mia immediately rushed forward. "Uncle Marcus, Mia has missed you so much." When Marcus saw Mia, the murderous look on his face vanished immediately. "Mia, Uncle misses you too. I brought you a whole truckload of toys this time." When a big truck stopped at the hospital gate, people around reacted with surprised looks. Those stuffed toys must number in the tens of thousands. How doting must that dad be to spoil his child like that? This is treating us like we're not even human. Hush, hush, hush. Damien looked very displeased. This was a complete slap in the face. He had spent a fortune just to humiliate me. He didn't expect Marcus to show up. Marcus is a major financial power behind the entertainment industry, many times stronger than the star elite agency he belongs to. More importantly, Marcus is like a dragon, his presence is known, but he's rarely seen. At most, Damien had only glanced at him from afar. Now, Marcus was clearly very familiar with my father and daughter, which made him quite flustered. But I ignored him and walked straight toward Isabel. Lying. You just took Damien's single-sided word and decided that my daughter and I were lying while remaining uninvolved. You don't even give us any chance to explain. It seems Damien's status is more important than ours. People around her began to criticize her, and even Mia stopped smiling. Isabel belatedly realized what had happened. She grabbed my hand and apologized. "I'm sorry, Nathan. It was my fault. I should have believed you." I jerked my hand away from her and said, "You have one more chance." Mia walked over and helped her up. "Lady, you mustn't make the same mistake again, or Dad and I won't forgive you." Startled for a moment, Isabel's eyes revealed irritation and anxiety. She had one chance left. If she failed, she feared she might never see her daughter again. Soon, she issued an announcement. Isabel would withdraw from the entertainment industry effective immediately. She had just put her phone down when her agent called. "Isabel, are you out of your mind? Do you know that quitting show business means all your past efforts were for nothing?" Damien also began to admonish. "Isabel, why don't you think it over a bit more?" Isabel's voice was very firm. "No. And you don't come looking for me anymore either." Soon I understood Isabel's game, feign retreat to advance. Unfortunately, she was mistaken. Damien still wanted me to persuade Isabel. I replied calmly, "What has that got to do with me?" "Damien, this is between my husband and me. You don't need to meddle," Isabel cut Damien off. "Besides, do you really think I don't understand? You were just trying to sow discord." Damien was a bit anxious. "Isabel, how can you think of me like this?" Before he finished speaking, I picked up Mia and left. "Husband, wait for me." Isabel's lips curved at the corner as she quickened her pace to follow. I didn't expect Isabel to actually come after us, and judging by the looks of it, she intended to cling to us. That won't do. Does she really not want her career anymore? When she saw me look back at her, she said with a complicated expression, "I've lost you once. I won't let go again this time." Hearing her words, I looked up in surprise. "I hope so. Don't slack off after a few days." Nathan. Looking at that familiar silhouette, Isabel recalled when they were together. She didn't have to worry about anything. That was the happiest time of her life. But later, she got a job, and the happiness disappeared. They'd only been apart for a few years, and he still seemed just as capable. She hadn't expected to watch me for so long. It felt like they were back to how things used to be, the girl leaning against the kitchen doorway, drooling. But what's missed is missed. It can never return to how it was. 5 dishes and a soup. Mia ran over at the smell. "Daddy, it smells so good." I picked her up and gently kissed her cheek. After giving birth, Isabel basically never took care of her, so her health is weaker than that of children her age. The reason she's become so strong today is because I fed her with nutritious delicacies. Mia, go with the lady first. Daddy will be ready soon. But I didn't expect it. Isabel just stayed there and didn't take care of the company at all. Marcus finished the transfer procedures, stayed for 3 days, then went off to travel. As for getting revenge for Mia, I'm already working on it. But before I could make a move, Isabel's fire had already reached her own doorstep. Mia handed me her phone, and the trending search glaringly read, #Isabel quits the industry #Isabel had a child out of wedlock #Isabel fell out with Star Elite and must pay a large amount of breach of contract damages The fact that these private details got out clearly means it was done by someone familiar, Star Elite, Isabel's agent Patricia. Isabel, step forward. Don't worry, I'll handle this myself. It won't affect you or Mia. I looked at her face and said irritably, you hang around here every day. We've long since been exposed. I shook my head, but my phone rang. Director Harrison. Silence on the other end. Then a resolute voice spoke. Nathan, don't worry. This time I'll definitely be on your side. I neither confirmed nor denied, but I also didn't understand what he meant. Butler Gregory handed me a tablet which displayed the reality show production team statement, effective immediately. Our production team terminates all cooperation with Vincent and will cooperate with a police investigation into his illegal activities. Below is Director Harrison's personal statement. At the same time, I declare that I will no longer have any cooperation with Star Elite. When Isabel saw this scene, her eyes were full of stars. But the knock on the door that followed made her heart tighten. The security guard reported that people from Star Elite had come calling. I didn't want to pay it any mind, but I still followed in Isabel's footsteps. Isabel, have you made a decision? If you want to leave the company now, you'll at least have to pay the company a breach penalty of $300 million. Isabel froze for a moment, then cursed loudly. $300 million? Why don't you guys go steal it? I've worked so hard for the company all these years and still haven't earned $300 million. Damien stepped forward and said, that's not simple. You should go back to the company. After all, your contract still has 5 years to run. Tears fell as Isabel looked at Mia. Then she walked over to me and said earnestly, I can't drag you down. You and Mia should go. Seeing Isabel in tears, Mia's eyes were wet. Seeing this scene, I knew I could no longer stand aside. Damien, who are you trying to scare? Damien sneered without stopping and directly shouted at me. Nathan, don't think that just because Marcus is backing you, you can run wild. Our Star Elite is backed by Horizon Productions. That's not something a minor nobody like you can stand up to. Mr. Carlson, chairman of Star Elite, looked at Isabel with lecherous eyes. If you want to break the contract, it's not impossible, as long as you sleep with me every month. But the next moment, he clapped a hand over his mouth and stared in disbelief at the blood on his palm. Shut up. You think you're something just because you're backed by Horizon Productions. What a coincidence, I happen to know their person in charge. After speaking, I directly dialed his number. Hearing my explanation, the other party was furious, eyes nearly popping with rage. Damien sneered. A bluff. I didn't answer. However, Mr. Carlson's expression changed drastically after he ended the call. He slapped Damien across the face and shouted angrily, thanks to you, my company is going bankrupt. Sure enough, before long, the police came and arrested him. At the same time, Damien received a call from Vincent. In that moment, he finally understood my abilities. Plop. He fell to his knees and begged for mercy. Nathan, Mr. Nathan, please, I'm begging you to spare me this time. But I no longer wanted to bother and slapped him across the face. When you provoke me, you should have expected to suffer the consequences today. Damien clung to Isabel's thigh, begging desperately for mercy. Isabel, please save me. You've become a diva star, and I put in no small amount of effort. Isabel's eyes flashed coldly, and Mia said disdainfully, lady, go ahead and make a scene. Slap. Damien looked at Isabel in disbelief, murmuring, Isabel, how could you hit me too? Isabel raised an eyebrow and spoke slowly. You think I don't know about the dirty things you've done over the years? How many women have you slept with? Your reputation has long been ruined. You just want to bind yourself to me to squeeze out a little more time, don't you?" After saying that, she directly opened her phone, and there on the screen were pieces of evidence of the crimes he had committed. At that moment, no one could save him. The police returned and arrested him. Director Harrison showed up with a sumptuous gift. This time, I still received him seriously. After investigation, the incident with the show had little to do with him. Everything was Damien's idea. Vincent had bribed the commentators and the staff, and those people were personally sent to the hospital by Director Harrison. But after all, it was the show's negligence that left a hidden psychological wound on my daughter. So I refused to participate in the show again. What I didn't expect was that a look of disappointment flashed across Mia's face. Isabel approached me and said earnestly, "Honey, Mia wants to go. She wants to get up wherever she falls." I looked at Mia. Mia said calmly, "Lady, don't talk nonsense. I never said that." I rubbed her cheek and took a deep breath. "All right, stop calling me lady every other sentence. Call me whatever you want. As for appearing on the show, I can agree, but you must listen to me from now on." Director Harrison went home overjoyed. I took my daughter to appear on the show. The difference was that this time there was one more person, Isabel. She seemed to have really changed. Like a student, she followed Mia to learn how to cook. Isabel also understood that I had no intention of remarrying. If she wants to achieve her goal, she will have to fight a war of attrition. One wrong step and the whole game is lost. The issue in the first stage is how she should ingratiate herself. If you want to win a man over, win his stomach. But she had never cooked before, so she had to learn from scratch. I could see how hard she was trying. Unfortunately, the dishes she made were truly awful. "Mia, you're young and need to build up your strength. Eat more." "Dad, this is Mom's way of showing her love for you. I can't steal the spotlight." She and I put down our chopsticks almost at the same time. "How about we go out and eat?" "Sounds good to me." Hearing that, tears filled Isabel's eyes. There was nothing we could do. Mia and I returned to our seats. That day during the show's recording, a crew member suddenly rushed toward Mia. Lying in the chair, I quickly shielded Mia behind me. At the critical moment, a figure stepped in front of me. A dagger plunged into her stomach. I kicked out and subdued the person. When I pulled off the mask, the killer turned out to be Vincent. Director Harrison hurried over with security and restrained the person. "Honey, I'm dying. Could you call me your wife once?" I frowned and ran my hands over her wounds, not a drop of blood. I realized then that she had deceived me again. She was wearing a gold fiber vest, enough to withstand a dagger. Still, seeing her determined, reckless expression, I spoke softly. "Get up first. I forgive you, but don't lie again." Isabel cried tears of joy. She thanked Vincent, who was handcuffed. "Thank you." I hugged my daughter Mia, who kept smiling.